What's up, y'all, and welcome to our very first episode of My Side of the Closet podcast. I'm your host, Just B.
And I'm Blonde Mafia, your co-pilot on this wild, raw, and very real ride.
This is the podcast where the hidden comes to light and where stories finally get told.
So what stories, you might be asking? Well, first, let's talk a little bit about who we are. I'd like to start off with who I am now, because I'm a very different person than who I was 10 years ago when I found out that I was inside of someone else's closet. Right now, I'm one badass bitch, and that is all thanks to my co-pilot over here, Just B. I have definitely walked a path in my time of healing. It's been 3 years since I discovered that I was in someone's closet, but at the time, 3 years ago, I definitely loved someone who was not only not honest with me, but someone very different than who I thought they were when I married. I had to rebuild from scratch, and that betrayal and that confusion left a lot of healing to be done. But I've lived it, and now here I am.
Damn, that was a good one. I got to follow. You know, it's like when you're in church. Damn, I got to follow. Okay, well, so I am Just B. I am a mom and a woman who was so in love until my life changed once I found out about my partner coming out. So now I'm loud, I'm quiet, I'm shy. Some would say that's a lie. I mean, I'm this person that I never thought I could be. Like, the things that I'm doing in life now, I don't think I'd ever be able to do it had I not gone through what I went through. So anybody that's listening that you don't even know how you're going to make it out, what you're going to do, like you just found out, we totally understand. You can get through this. You can climb that mountain. I was told, girl, if you just get over that mountain, you'll be okay. How Blonde Mafia and I met, we were on this Facebook group called Straight Women of Gay Husbands or Partners. And she just came out of her situation, and I read a post that she posted, and it just spoke to me. I believe that's how it happened. And I inboxed her, and we started exchanging information, just like our pictures and who we were. And then, boom, like we got together, and I flew out there to go see her, and it's like we've been knowing each other for 15 years and longer or whatever.
I'd like to talk a little bit about that group. So this group saved my life 100%. Along with meeting you, was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I was at a point in my life where maybe some of the women listening have found themselves when you discover that you're in someone else's closet. You don't exactly know how to handle it. There's so many questions. There's so many, but what about this? There's, how do I handle this? Who do I tell? How's this going to play out? Can I leave? Can I not leave? You're in a position that no one should ever have to be in, but only we understand. And so in speaking to my friends when I originally found out the information, I knew that while my friends were sympathetic to my situation, they didn't understand in a way that I needed them to. And that led me on a wild ride of a Google search of, I'm a straight woman in a relationship with a gay man. What do I do now? And down the rabbit hole I went and discovered this Facebook group, which was called Straight Wives of Gay Husbands, which is where I met Just B. And the thing that drew me to her most was I was in the very beginning, and she seemed to match my personality and my attitude towards where I found myself. And yet she was farther along in her journey. And so I thought, this is someone I could bounce ideas off of. This is someone that I could relate to. This is someone who was on the same journey that I knew I was about to go down. She was further along, and she also seemed to be a little less emotional than I was at the time, and a little more attitude, which is my normal persona. But having just discovered the information, I wasn't quite there yet.
Less emotional? Girl, I cried every damn day. I swear I needed tinted windows on my car because I cried all the time. And then I would torture myself. I would play like Boys to Men and then cry. Like, I probably never listened to any of the words, but then I would hear it and I'd be like, yeah, that was me. Oh my God. I know y'all found yourself crying and drinking, because Lord knows I had a bottle or two. Now, I'm not alcoholic, but in those were some dark moments.
Absolutely.
And she says I was less emotional. I was crazy. But yeah, when I met her, I kind of calmed down. I even started dating afterwards. But, you know, it's just so much that's going through your head. Y'all, I almost lost my job 11 times. Yes, 11 times. If that could be a number. It's like your brain fart. You can't think straight. People are, my job with my boss, they were talking to me, and I'm like, one goes in one ear and comes out the other. Like, I can't believe I functioned as a mother perfectly, but behind closed doors, I was crying, I was praying, and I was drinking. I my whole life just went to shits. And I just didn't know how I was going to come out of this. But when I did meet her, I was further along. I was a little stronger. I was able to, like I said, I started dating. And then now when you're dating, you think everybody's gay. They wear little skinny jeans now. Like,
that is the truth.
Back in the day, their pants were baggier. Now their pants are tight as my wig. I mean, you just like, damn, like, is he gay? Is he gay? Or they shake hands? So many things run through your mind. You don't know. And then it's that, how could you not know? When people ask you, how could you not know?
My favorite question.
My favorite question. Hell, I didn't see shit. Why? Because I was so in love. Y'all, I know the social security of this man, like everything. And right now, they act like, hey, nothing's wrong. There's not an apology. I think I may have gotten half-assed an apology. But you got to remember that you're not the only one affected. A lot of people are affected around you. But they move on like, you'll be all right. I mean, I'm sure they got their own shit going on. But it's like, yeah, you'll be all right. And they want to be good with everybody. But then people ask you also, did you not see the signs? Y'all saw the signs. I ain't see shit but stars and Skittles.
Because I think it's true what they say. You don't see what you don't want to see. And when you're so in love with someone, I had people, even prior to committing myself to this person, I had people bring things up to me. Hey, do you think this is strange? Hey, I've heard this rumor about this person. And I did not want to believe it. This man was my knight in shining armor. He was.
Right,
I
right.
wanted to be with him. It was already set in my head, and it didn't matter what anyone else said. And especially, if you know me, nobody can tell me what to do.
Damn
You
right.
tell me don't marry that gay man, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go marry him.
Told me the sky was purple. I said, sure is. That was my tall, dark, and shining armor, and no one could tell me anything. And now that it's done, it's over, you see it, and you're like, God, dog. We go to the same nail shop.
But this brings up another question, which is, I think most listeners, women who have found themselves in this position, is what do you do? What do you do when you find out? How does it play out? You had a child at the time. I also had a child. Fortunately for me, my gay husband was not the biological father of that child, so that was not an issue. But often women are left with, what do I do now? What's the next step?
For one, I isolated myself. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to see anybody. And the people that knew, I had one particular person that was like, it's okay, we know. And I'm like, no, what? What you know? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I was in denial because I was so embarrassed. Because in my head, I had damn near the perfect man. The most romantic. I didn't grow up with romantic parents loving on each other, but that's what I received. And that's what he learned in his life. And so for me, I had everything. So I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I didn't even tell my folks until like 2 years later. And it was funny because my mom was like, is he on the other side? I said, which side? The other side. She's like, the other side. I'm like, which side are you talking about?
The other side of the closet.
Hell, I didn't want to answer to her. I I was just embarrassed. And, then what am I going to do? My kid loves, she loves hard, but I didn't want her involved in anything. Like I said, for legal reasons, I keep this under wraps. And again, this podcast is not to bash anybody in the LGBT. No, I ain't gonna lie, that's a long ass name. The alphabet community, the LBGTQRX elemental P. I've heard it all, but it's not to bash. And y'all, I'm silly, so don't take me serious on that. It's not to bash anybody. It's definitely to bring awareness, because there are people that are still doing this, or having this behavior, and not being open and honest with people that genuinely love and care. And I know I have people in my family who are in the community, and they are free. They're outspoken, and they're who they are, and I love them. I love the community. Let's just get that straight. I love the community. What I don't love is for people to lie about who they really are, especially if you've been questioned, because now at that time you've wasted 10 years of my life. When I wanted more children, you've wasted that. But I thank God, and I'm not perfect, because I'll tell y'all right now, because this podcast is going to get a little deeper. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I cheated. But we're going to say that for another episode.
We're going to save that for another episode, because I disagree, and this is where her and I are going to come to blows.
Yeah.
But I think your point is that everybody, every female, maybe males, there are males that have found themselves in relationships with women who said that they were straight. Everybody has a different story, and everybody has a different side of their closet, and everyone's closet looks different. So we're going to tell our story, but we're going to invite other people to come in and tell theirs. And we want people to just take away from this that you're not alone. And again, that's how, when I found that group and I found you and I met you, I realized I'm not alone. And this is much bigger than people would believe.
But look, this podcast, like we said, we're not here to bash or shame or belittle. Everyone has a story. Everyone's closet looks different. We just want you to tell your story from your side, and we're telling ours from our side. We'll talk love, secrets, sexuality, motherhood, co-parenting, therapy, emotional wreckage, the messy middle that no one warns you about.
And I promise you, some of these episodes are going to make you cry. Hell, they might make me cry. Nah, no one's ever seen that.
I ain't crying. I ain't crying.
But I promise you, you're going to laugh. And you're probably going to pour another glass.
And look, we're not therapists. We're just two women who've been through it and decided to turn pain into purpose.
We're going to bring a lot of truth. We're going to bring definite sass, some soul, and most importantly, survival.
So whether your truth is messy, quiet, funny, or heartbreaking,
just know that your side of the closet matters, and we're here to make space for it.
This is my side of the closet, and we're just getting started.